Hi everyone, it's HailHeidi again. Today we are watching America Compared: Why Other Countries Treat Their People So Much Better. A lot of you recommended this in the comments in my in all of my videos basically. So I am very interested to see what we have in store for us today. I'm sure we're going to love it. All right, let's do this.
Probably offend many of my viewers. Let me preface
Oh,
this
I
by
forgot that
saying
okay, I actually went forward a little bit because this intro is so bright. I could not. Anyway.
Patron at patreon.com/second
Sorry about that. Ooh.
I'm going to say something that will probably offend many of my viewers. Let me preface this by saying that I, as an American, include myself in the following statement. Americans are quite possibly the most willfully ignorant people on the face of the planet. We have access to the sum total of all human knowledge, yet our understanding of the world rarely extends beyond our own country. And even then, the majority of Americans believe in a vision of the country that does not actually exist. It's not that we're stupid, we just tend to blindly accept that the US is the greatest place on Earth, and therefore don't see any reason to educate ourselves about the realities of the rest of the world. In this episode...
Right, so a lot of us grow up this... I agree with him. I know that we've been talking about this in our previous videos so far, but I know that that's kind of what we grow up with, and some of us just don't hear anything better than America. Some of us grow up being told that America is the best country in the world for this many reasons, and it's just the way it is until we start meeting other people from other countries, we start actually talking to people online, things like that. That's what's happening to me, actually. Which is, I mean, I knew we had issues, but I'm just recently learning just how drastic the issues are. So, yep, that's right.
We're going to pull back the curtain on how America actually compares to other countries, and consider why the richest country on Earth fails to treat its people with dignity and fairness. I'm going to provide a list of important topics, then for each item we'll compare the American experience with that of citizens from other nations. Hopefully...
By the way, this is by, oh my gosh, Second Thought is the channel who put this together, so kudos to them. Really good, quality video so far.
By providing a side-by-side comparison, you'll be able to see the stark contrast between how most Americans see their country and how it really stacks up against the competition. To give you an idea of just how skewed the American perception of our country really is, let's start with a pretty shocking example. Compensation for what are considered low-skilled jobs. We'll take the quintessential American company, McDonald's. McDonald's is the world's largest restaurant chain by revenue.
I actually love McDonald's.
It operates in over 100 countries and serves over 69 million customers.
I'm sure this is not
day.
Going to be good.
As of 2018, McDonald's was the second largest private employer, with 1.7 million employees, behind Walmart's 2.3 million. How many times have you heard someone refer to McDonald's jobs or workers in a derogatory manner? For some reason, people who work at McDonald's are seen as inferior or lazy or have any number of other unfair and unkind assessments leveled at them. This probably stems from the old notion of flipping burgers being a job anyone can perform. But the animosity towards low-wage workers has grown significantly in the past few decades. And in America, McDonald's workers really do suffer a low wage. As of 2020, the average crew member at McDonald's makes $9 per hour.
That's sad. I don't know how minimum wage or, restaurant jobs compare in other countries, but I think he'll probably go over it. But just my initial response is like, ow. That's it.
The average McDonald's cashier makes $8 per hour. The federal minimum wage in the United States is $7.25, a rate which has not been raised in over a decade, and which should not be considered a reasonable wage for any position, considering the fact that a full-time minimum wage worker cannot afford to rent a 2-bedroom apartment anywhere in the United States, and can't afford a 1-bedroom apartment in over 95% of U.S. counties. Now, the all-too-common response to...
95%? Did he say 95% of U.S. counties? Wow, that is a high percentage. Wow, okay.
Like this is something like...
And I'm so sorry, also, it looks like captions are not available for this video. I wish they were, but hopefully you guys can hear the video okay.
Well, yeah, it's not a hard job. You should just find a better one. Here's a simple question. Should any job, regardless of technical skill required, pay workers so little that they cannot afford to rent even the smallest place to live? Not to mention other necessities like utilities, food, and medicine. Absolutely not. That is inhumane and cruel, especially coming from the second largest employer in the richest country on the planet.
That is so true. And people who work in fast food and the restaurant business, they are running around. They're working hard. You know, like they get super small breaks. They like, it's insane. Like people get paid more to sit at a desk and have their own schedule while these people are running around, like working their asses off, and they can't even afford a one-bedroom apartment. That is so sad to me. That is rough.
Other notable objections include McDonald's has to make a profit. If they pay their workers more, they might go out of business. First of all, if you can't pay your workers a fair wage, your company should not be in business. End of story. But again, McDonald's is not struggling to make ends meet. In 2019, McDonald's raked in $21 billion in revenue. But no matter how obvious the exploitation of low-wage workers, Americans are hell-bent on praising the very companies doing the exploiting. Take this article on Reader's Digest, for example. It's titled, "This is what McDonald's workers really get paid." You see that and think, oh, nice. Finally some news showing how poorly these workers are compensated. Then you scroll down nope, they're actually praising McDonald's, saying things like, the food chain is also great for paying their workers fairly, and McDonald's is one of the highest paying fast food chains in the United States. This level of sycophancy is insane. If $8 or $9 an hour is some of the highest pay in the industry, that doesn't indicate that McDonald's is paying fairly, it indicates that a massive chunk of the population is being paid poverty wages. This is where taking an international perspective is so critical. If all you see is feel-good stories about how well McDonald's workers are paid, you'll never know how badly American workers are actually being treated. Let's take the same company.
Really quickly, I actually drove by a Taco Bell the other day. Here in America, they said that their starting pay was $15 an hour. 15. What is McDonald's doing? Taco Bell's doing, Taco Bell's trying, you know? What is McDonald's doing? I love McDonald's. This is probably why, but that's crazy. I didn't know it was that low, but.
The same position, but in a different country.
And maybe it's different now, or maybe it's different per location. I'm not exactly sure, so we'll keep that in mind as well.
Here's a McDonald's in Denmark. The average McDonald's worker in Denmark, for doing the same low-skill job, makes $22 per hour. Well, hold on, you hear Reader's Digest scream from across the Atlantic. McDonald's workers in America get paid vacation days after just a year of work. Wow.
An entire year?
In Denmark, when you're hired at McDonald's, not only are you making nearly 3 times what you would make in an American Mickey D's, you also instantly have access to a full year of paid family leave and a pension. No slaving away for a year to prove your value to the company. You're hired and you're treated fairly. Simple as that. McDonald's can afford—
And then maybe people would actually stick around as well, you know?
to compensate all their workers like this, but they won't, because US laws allow them to exploit American workers to the point where they're basically slaves, earning the bare minimum to survive, paying all of their income and often going into debt just to pay rent, and having no way to escape this vicious cycle because they're working such long hours. This is the case across all of America's low-wage jobs, of which there are many. The plight of the low-wage worker is incredibly dire, and all you have to do to understand that is look at how those same workers are treated in other wealthy countries. Let's move on to another topic, work-life balance. Fair wages are definitely part of this equation. If you're paid fairly, you don't need to work a second.
I'm excited to see more comparisons of, like, for example, the $22 in Denmark versus the $8 or $9 in America. I'm interested to see more of that.
Job, which will free up your time to be spent elsewhere. But we're going to focus on other metrics, specifically the length of the work week, vacation time, and parental leave. Let's start with the US. Most Americans would say that 40 hours per week is full-time. That seems to be the general consensus. But, in keeping with the country's exploitative labor practices, the hilariously named Fair Labor Standards Act does not actually define what qualifies as full-time. That's left up to the employer. Okay, why does this matter? Well, think of your past part-time jobs. Did you get any benefits? Healthcare? 401k? Probably not. Most benefits, when they're offered at all, are reserved for full-time employees. Companies don't want to provide benefits because they affect their bottom line. America is all about cutting costs, and providing workers with fair compensation is a cost. So, imagine you apply for a full-time job at Best Buy. You're offered the job, but they tell you they only have part-time positions, but they can give you almost full-time. They make it sound like they're doing you a favor, offering you more hours than normal part-time. But this is just another example of employers exploiting their workers. If
It's
you
just so
work
that they don't have
37
to
hours
give
per week,
benefits.
you're essentially a full-time employee, but they don't have to provide you any sort of benefits. No healthcare, no vacation, nothing. This is a common practice. Companies will hire people, but keep them just below the threshold for full-time to avoid providing fair compensation. I've seen it happen. I used to work at Best Buy and they would do it all the time. And that's just the companies who are still trying to appear generous. Others will simply not offer benefits at all, or set their full-time positions at 50 or 60 hours per week. Sales positions are notorious for this.
Can you do that?
They'll often say, well, we expect you to work 40 hours, but all the top sellers are working 60 to 70 hours per week. This is coercion. They're trying to pressure you into working more hours to benefit them, and the compensation is never what they claim it will be. By allowing employers to define full-time work, American workers are held captive by corporations, forced to either work absurd hours to qualify for full-time benefits or find a second job to help cover the cost of things like health insurance.
Such a stupid way of living. Like, nobody should have to do that and go through that stress. That is interesting.
Both of these options lead to a terrible work-life balance. And as real wages have decreased and benefits have been offered less and less over the years, huge numbers of American workers have developed an unhealthy work-life balance. For example, in 1960, when workers had real bargaining power, only 20% of American women worked. Today, 70% of children live in households where both parents are working full-time. Where does all this lead? As of 2020, over 85% of American men and 66% of women work more than 40 hours per week.
Wow.
We work 137 more hours per year than Japanese workers, 260 more than the British, and 499 more hours per year than the French.
So, are we moving to France now? Americans? Are we doing this? That is crazy. 499 extra hours. Oh my gosh. Woo. No wonder we're so tired over here.
Why do other countries have such a better balance? Because many of them have laws that cap the length of the full-time work week. Companies are required to pay their workers fairly and allow enough time off for employees to maintain a healthy work-life balance. That's not the case in the US. Vacation time is a similar story. Whereas many other countries mandate that employers provide paid vacation and sick days, the US does not. In every industrialized nation, workers get more paid vacation days and holidays than in the US. Here's a depressing graph to illustrate just how poorly we treat our workers.
This last week.
France 31, Spain 34, Austria 38, America 0. 0 paid vacation days, 0 paid holidays. And remember, these are the mandated figures. Every Austrian worker gets a minimum of 38 paid days off per year, even in the worst possible employment situation.
I do know that a lot of jobs here, even though initially you don't have any paid vacation days, you can earn them after a certain number of months of working there. Then you can start earning paid vacation, which, yeah, like it's better than nothing, but still it's a rough first few months, you know, or even longer.
They'd still get 38 paid days off. In the US, many workers are lucky to get Christmas or Thanksgiving off at all. And the odds that it's a paid holiday? Next to 0. Let's move on to our final comparison. Paid parental leave. Many Americans aren't even aware this is a thing.
Really quickly before I forget, I do know that salary work is one of the most, like, you know, sought after types of pay, because you get paid you get paid annually. Basically, you get the same amount of pay whenever you get your paycheck, every 2 weeks or every month or something like that, no matter how many hours you're working. So that's good for when you need to take vacation or sick days or things like that. You don't get paid hourly, so you don't lose that amount. But at the same time, a lot of these jobs do tend to overwork their employees. Super late nights or weekends sometimes. It just makes it easier for the employer to pile more onto that person who is being paid salary because they don't have to pay them hourly. They have a set rate. So it is, you know, a little iffy there as well. So
let me explain. When an employee of a company has a child, sometimes they're offered parental leave, a period of time where they can stay home from work to bond with and take care of their new baby. This greatly benefits the employee, the child, and in the long run, the company, because the employee will be happier, less stressed,
their
and more
mental
loyal
health.
to the company.
Yeah.
Of course, offering paid parental leave doesn't benefit corporations in the short term. And if there's one thing that encapsulates the American business
That's all we
philosophy,
care about.
it's short-term gains over
Yeah.
all else. So it won't surprise you to learn that the US is the only industrialized nation on the planet that does not mandate some amount of paid parental leave. This may be shocking to my American viewers because being able to get paid to spend time with your newborn child sounds like an impossible dream in our dystopian labor market. And honestly, it probably is impossible in our current America.
Yeah.
We're so invested in self-destructive capitalism that even suggesting the possibility of paid parental leave would put US politicians out of a job. That's not the case in the rest of the industrialized world. In fact, every other OECD nation, and even in many third world countries, new parents are guaranteed at least several weeks of leave. Let's take a look at a few of them. Ethiopia, a country with an annual gross national income of under $900 per person, offers 90 days of leave with 100% pay. Madagascar, 14 weeks at 100%. Afghanistan, 90 days. Denmark, 52 weeks. Norway, 56 weeks. France, 16 weeks at 100% pay for your first child, up to 26 weeks for your third, on top of 104 unpaid weeks. Lithuania, 52 weeks at 100%, plus an additional 52 weeks at 80%. Again, the United States does not mandate a single day of paid parental leave, even for the mother, and the father is never considered. This means that workers in America have to choose to either pay the exorbitant cost of childcare or have one parent.
Oh, which that is another topic. Childcare is so expensive here. It is insane. Like, parents are struggling. That is, yeah. Oh, triggered.
Quit their job in order to take care of the child. These are both bad options, which often lead to economic precarity. But that doesn't matter to the companies employing American workers. Profit is the only thing that matters. Hopefully seeing these labor practices compared like this has made it clear that not only is the US not living up to its claim to being the greatest nation on earth,
I feel like my eyebrows are
that
just
it consistently
down right
ranks
now.
poorly and often
You see the
dead last in terms
disappointment
of labor metrics.
in my face?
Why is it that the wealthiest, most powerful nation on earth can't pay their workers a fair wage, or provide health care, vacation time, or paid parental leave? You should realize by now that it's not that they can't, it's that they won't. Everything in America is beholden to the almighty dollar. Profit is the only motivator. If an action does not produce a greater profit, it will not be considered.
We need our private jets, you know what I mean? Gosh, how are we going to pay for those if we pay our employees fairly? Huh? Don't ask me.
Over the last few decades, Americans have watched as our livelihoods, our quality of life, and our dignity have all been stripped away by those who already make obscene amounts of money. Those in power say we're all in this together, but that couldn't be further from the truth. The ultra-wealthy and the world's largest corporations rely on Americans remaining ignorant. They rely on us accepting the lie that America is the greatest nation on earth, that it couldn't possibly get any better. All you have to do to shatter that lie is to take a look around the world. Other nations take
Yes, I am a living example of that.
care of their citizens.
Gosh.
Even impoverished nations, or nations that we've bombed into oblivion, take better care of their people than the US does. American workers need to relearn the language of class struggle and work together to break the wheel of the capitalist machine. If we want to claim that the United States is the greatest place on earth, we need to make it that way.
Yeah, we need to actually be it, right? There we go. Okay, so that's basically the end of the video. I'm going to close this because it's so bright for me. But, holy cow. Yeah, I can see why you guys sent me this video. Oh, you know what? What was my thought going to be? See, this is why I have to pause and just share my thoughts right away. Because if I go 10 more seconds, you know, focusing on something else, it leaves my mind. But this was very interesting. This is definitely like, you know, same ideas that we've been talking about in the last several videos that we've had on this channel. It is really interesting, just the the idea and the thought of, oh yeah, America's the best, America, land of the brave, or home of the brave, land of the free, land of the brave, home of the free. I don't really care. But that whole idea is, it's very pushed at people here in America. It's very, you know, ingrained in our minds all growing up. You know, you're in elementary school as a little kid and you do the Pledge of Allegiance, you know. basically pledging your allegiance, obviously, to your country and to protecting your country, and this is the best country. But the more that you learn about other countries and how things are, and I know a lot of you have talked about kind of the taxes in other countries, that can be, you know, a little bit high in your opinion. So we're going to learn more about that, I'm sure. But it just, so far, what I'm seeing is that we are not doing it the way that I think America was meant to be doing it when it was first founded. It's just sad. So anyway, thank you guys so much for suggesting this video. I really appreciate it. Let me know if you want me to react to any other videos in the comments. I love reading your comments. Thank you guys so much for all of the support, all of your thoughts and insights. I love it. I'm just gobbling it up. So, but thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.